All right, welcome to week 3 and module 3 in the program. We're going to be talking all about marketing, getting fresh, hot leads into your business, helping you to get the results that you want to get. So this really is the ignition to your engine. So I thought long and hard about an analogy for this module, for this week, being one of my most favorite things, because after the systems and the foundation and kind of the beginning mindset, this is where it all has to start. And, I thought about the roaring locomotive, really getting some power and some horsepower and some energy, or your favorite sports car if you're into cars, or even a rocket ship, the inertia, the energy it takes, when it's like liftoff and you see all the smoke going. So I kind of want you to have that imagery in your mind as you're thinking about the marketing and the fuel for your business. Marketing, it really is the lifeblood of your business. Without marketing, you do not have a real estate business. So we are going to dive deep on that this week, and I want to get right into it here. So we are going to cover a marketing overview. I want to give you a clear picture of where we're going and what it's going to look like. Then we're going to talk about some unseen traps that aren't visible usually to the naked eye as you're going through this journey. And I want you to be aware of different pitfalls and different roadblocks that you really can run into, and roadblocks that I've run into over these years. And I want you to be able to have the clearest and cleanest path to get where you're ultimately trying to go. Okay? And then I've designed certain roadmaps to help get you there. Marketing roadmaps that you will be following step by step to get results in this business. So you're going to be choosing in the coming videos, you're going to be choosing a roadmap that you're going to commit to mastery, to follow step by step of clear instructions so you can take out all the guesswork. We're also going to be talking today about, and I'm going to give you the kind of the high level view of those roadmaps today. And we're going to be talking about the laws of marketing. There are certain principles, there are certain laws in marketing that if you follow them, you will yield much better results than if you try to go completely against the grain. And so I want to share with you some of those principles that I've found that will just enhance all of this for you. And then we're going to start taking steps to define your path and start chunking it backwards into practical steps for you personally. So let's dive in. So first, like I said, we're going to talk about your marketing overview. And this is the image I want you to have in your mind. You're getting this roaring, powerful thing going, right? This locomotive, this rocket ship. And we're going to get this thing moving. So welcome, guys, to week 3. This is where we transition from mindset and kind of the setup and preparation phase into taking massive action and getting life-changing results in your business, which I know is why you're here. So this entire week, this entire module, as you go through all of the videos, this is the engine. I want you to remember that marketing, marketing is the engine to your business. And you must get this right, or your business will stutter. Not stutter, sputter. Your business will sputter. It's like you're trying to, start the car and it's just sputtering out. It's not, that ignition is not happening. So marketing is where things really start to get moving, okay? We're going to understand the role that marketing plays. And I want to kind of talk about this for a second. I want to show you guys a picture here. So in your real estate business, there's going to be 5 main wheels. There's going to be 5 main machines that are moving, okay? And there are more than this, but just to keep things simple. The very first one is marketing. Then you're going to have acquisitions, dispositions, transactions, systems, and processes. And I want to show you guys just a beautiful picturesque diagram that I drew here on this handy dandy whiteboard. Actually, it's kind of challenging to draw on it. So in your business, you're going to have five main machines that are working together. And where things come into this business are marketing, okay? That is where it all starts, and that's where you get leads into your business. From there, we're going to go into acquisitions, where that is where, we are talking with sellers. We are identifying pain points. We are seeing if we can provide a solution or not, or if there's no way for us to help. We are, getting properties under contract. We are negotiating deals. We are finding deeply discounted properties. From there, there's the disposition side of the business, okay? There is what we're going to do with the property on the back end. And that's a whole machine in and of itself. And maybe for you watching this, it's wholesaling that property. It's assigning the property, okay? Maybe it's, we found this amazing deal at over 50% of the market value off the price, and it is just an absolute moneymaker, and you want to keep this as a rental, or you want to flip this property or repair this property. That's going to be the disposition wheel of this business. But you can't disposition a property that you don't have. And you cannot acquire a property if you don't have the right marketing filters and the right marketing processes in place, with the right leads in the first place, with the right strategy, in the right areas and the right zip codes. It all flows together. And then you're going to have this over here, what you'll see is a TC, and that's going to be your transaction coordination, or your transactions and your closings. And that whole machine is, working with the title company, or maybe in your state, you're an attorney state, and the closings are done with an attorney. And that's where everything is operating in that realm. And again, we're never going to get to the closing part of it if we don't have these other wheels or machines in place. And so I want you to see the role that marketing has, that all of these other areas just become non-existent if we don't get this first area right. And then the foundation of our business is built on the right systems and the right processes and procedures and ethics and integrity, okay? And doing this business right to actually help people and provide value for all parties involved. And that's going to be the bedrock of our business. Okay, so I really want you to understand that part. All right, so the goal is for you to have a steady pipeline of leads coming into your business day in and day out, eventually without your involvement. So imagine the right leads flooding into your inbox and your voicemail or phone system, or dialing your phone or phone system that you've built for your company, and having quantity and quality consistently in your business, eventually without your involvement. And that is going to then feed those other wheels, those other machines, the acquisitions, the dispositions, the transactions, and the systems and processes are all going to help that. And that's how this all gels together. So that is the goal, is to have that steady pipeline of leads coming into your business. Consistent lead flow is critical, and that's why I want to take a second to say this a second time. Without consistent lead flow, your business will not succeed. And that may sound very harsh, but it is true. And I want to help you to have consistent lead flow in your business. So in this week, you are going to have exact step-by-step roadmaps to follow. These are the roadmaps that will be able to take you to a $100,000 per month business. So I want you to have confidence that whether you are starting with a very, very small limited budget, one of the very first roadmaps we are going to discuss, the budget is going to be between $0 and $200 a month. So the budgets on these roadmaps are going to range from virtually a non-existent budget or very, very low-cost budget for truly running a business, all the way up to a much larger marketing budget where you are running $100,000 a month business. So I want you to have confidence that you're going to have the transitioning steps to start with the basic roadmap and go all the way to the very end of the more advanced roadmaps. Marketing is where to invest in your business. So yes, investing in your education and your ability to take action, that is a huge component. Next to that, next to knowing what to do and how to do it, investing in marketing is critically important, because leads, as we've talked about, play such a vital role into every other aspect of your business. So I don't want you to get caught up in all the other distractions. So for example, making a pretty logo or designing a fancy Instagram account or Facebook account for your business typically is not the thing that's going to get you the results, but it is investing and taking very seriously the marketing of your business. Now, you will be tempted throughout this process as you follow these roadmaps with the comparisonitis, what I like to call it, by the grass being greener on the other side of the fence, or thinking that the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. You will be tempted to second guess the roadmap that you chose and think that maybe another roadmap is better. So I want you to know that going in. So we're going to talk about unseen traps. These are, in terms of the grass being greener on the other side and, thinking that there has to be a faster, shorter, easier way, there is a lot of little pitfalls and holes that you can fall into as you start to go down this path of marketing, as the rubber starts meeting the road. And I want you to be prepared for these items. So I want you to know that less is more. You will think that you need to do more, but that's not true. You need to do less, but better. Okay? Less is more. There's a fabulous book on this called Essentialism. In fact, I invite you after this video, not right now, but after this video, to go to Amazon. There's a book called Essentialism. It's a very, very, very powerful book. Less is more. Okay, Bruce Lee has a lot of quotes about this that are really, really cool, but you will think that you have to do more. What happens is things will get sloppy and the results will not be there. So that is a trap that will come up. So I want you to be prepared for that. This is where you got to dig in, okay, and grit your teeth and not get distracted. You will be tempted by shiny objects. You will be tempted by different systems, different marketing ideas out there. The more distractions that you have, the more people's email list you're subscribed to, the more YouTube channels you're subscribed to, the more inputs, you will get to a point, and ask me how I know, where you will start to have so much information coming in, and every week or every other week, following down a different path that, this is how I'm going to bring great leads into my business. And so one of the most powerful things you can do is cut out a lot of that information and really put the blinders on and commit to something. And that is going to be a much faster road to success. I want you to understand there is a lot of powerful marketing out there in the marketplace, but I've been around this industry for a long time. There are no magical push button systems that will do all the work for you, that will contact all the sellers, do all the marketing and the mail and the phone calls, and do everything for you, where you can just stay behind your computer, barely do anything, and checks show up in the mailbox. Now, I know that's a pretty extreme example, but you would be surprised, and maybe not surprised, of the marketing that's out there that can almost fool you into thinking that you can just push a few buttons and things magically happen. So I want you to know that that is not the case. Okay, this stuff is very simple, but it is going to take some work. Another trap that you will likely be tempted with is working on other components of your business. Maybe you're really going to be working on building relationships, or your power team, or finding a good title company or closing company, or a few good realtors to network with, or different people to build your power team, or other things that maybe you've heard from different seminars or trainers. And there is a place for all those things, and there's a proper timing for those things. But a lot of times we focus on other areas of our business to replace or to help mediate that discomfort of learning and investing and really going for it with the marketing. Okay. And another side of that is, when it comes time to talking with the sellers, which is not what this video is about, that is another area where oftentimes we will try to do other things that are more comfortable. Okay. So with marketing, consistency is a killer. And that's pretty graphic, but you're likely not very consistent. Okay. If you are the entrepreneur type, if you are a visionary, if you are a creative type, typically marketing is something that is a more just mundane, routine thing. And oftentimes we think we're much more consistent than we really are. And so oftentimes you won't be as consistent as you think you will be. We give ourselves a lot of credit and you won't be as consistent as you likely think you'll be. And that can a lot of times really be a big trap that we fall into. So we must really grow in this area of discipline and consistency. And this is not some overly attractive thing, but when you start to grow in this and are disciplined, and eventually this is going to be like a role that we delegate, where we have someone on our team that is in charge of the marketing going out week in and week out, and they are sending us reports, and the marketing is just utterly consistent. It is planned for weeks into the future, and whether it's a holiday, whether it's rain or shine, the marketing goes out around the clock no matter what. And that is where we are going to. So just understand that consistency or lack thereof is a killer for your business, and it's something to protect yourself against. And one way we do that is we really discipline ourselves, we grow, and eventually this is a role that we can delegate. And so you likely, like I said, will not be as consistent in the beginning, but it's something that you keep getting better at. So the difference between a white belt and a black belt, I'll ask you, what is the difference between a white belt and a black belt? So the difference is that a black belt is a white belt who never quit. A black belt is a white belt who never quit. Okay? I want you to remember that. All right, so next here, don't hide. Okay? Stephen, what are you talking about by don't hide? Accept that you will still need to talk with people. Now, why is this an unseen trap? See, getting into business, starting any business, you start out with a certain amount of knowledge and experience, and then you grow in that. So in the beginning, a lot of times there's just innate fear in what we're doing. Fear that we're going to look foolish. Fear that we're going to look silly. Fear that we're not going to do the deal right. Fear that we're not going to know what to say to a seller or a buyer or an attorney or a title company. Fear of if we mess up, what is our spouse, what is our family and friends and loved ones going to think of us? And so there is this there's this thing of kind of falling into a pattern of hiding behind the computer, of saying, okay, I'll do this type of marketing or that type of marketing, and that's going to allow me to not have to speak with as many sellers, or, maybe I can just kind of stay under the radar, and almost like we fool ourselves into remembering the truth about this business, that at the end of the day, there is a person, a real person that's going through a very challenging time that is often tied to their property, whether it's physically the property itself is in major distress, or something financially or emotionally or whatever is going on with the person, and something has snapped in their situation and they want to liquidate this property. It's almost like they want to take this property into a pawn shop and they want to sell it for a massive discount. They want to sell it for cash and they just want to be done with it. And anytime that's happening, there is a conversation at some point that's going to need to take place. And don't worry about being this extremely extroverted person, because believe it or not, I'm not. I'm more on the introvert side. And so that can be challenging for those of you who are watching this who are an introvert. But a trap that we fall into is, and this goes for anybody, even not just the introvert, extrovert, just the person who maybe you're an extrovert, but you don't have all the answers yet because you're newer at this business. And, I hate to break it to you, but you're never going to have all the answers, right? So, I just want to remind you to don't hide, to be proud of what you're doing, that you are offering valuable solutions to people, that we're not trying to trick anyone or fool anyone or talk anyone into selling. We're out there building relationships and helping people, and it's a beautiful thing. So don't hide. In fact, have pride in what you're doing. Tell people what you're doing. Tell people, if you want, that you are newer and that you're learning and you're having a lot of fun along the way and all of those things. Be honest, be real, be vulnerable. But I want you to make a commitment right now that, even if you don't have all the answers, even if you are experiencing fear in your mind, that in your marketing and in your conversations and the way you go about living your life in and around this business, that you're not going to hide behind your computer. Because if you do that, you're truly limiting all of the results that you can possibly get. And I do not want that for you. So next, an unseen trap is mistaking the phase of the business that you're at. So what I have here is free marketing is hard. And it's going to require oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes more output. And it may even play on your psyche a little bit, but it teaches you the game. So let's say you're starting this business and you're choosing the first roadmap, or you're choosing the first or second roadmap where, because you have a smaller marketing budget, or you are saying, you know what, these are the type of leads that I'm going to go after first. And I want you to understand that even if you have a larger marketing budget, some of the things that I'm going to instruct you to do in the first and second roadmap are such a powerful thing regardless of the size of the marketing budget that you have, because it's going to teach you this game, I call it. It's going to teach you this business inside and out. And oftentimes when we're doing some of that free marketing, we're not just clicking a few buttons here and there. It's not that we're doing anything overly difficult, but it's going to play on your psyche, and you may be doing some challenging outputs, okay, that are going to get you a little bit out of your comfort zone. But remember the end game that we're after, building a business that's going to allow you the freedom of why you got started in this business in the first place, and the resources and the finances and the relationships and the blessings that come from this business. It's incredibly powerful. But oftentimes when you start marketing, and let's say you're doing some of the free marketing in the first couple of roadmaps, and you're like, okay, like I'm generating some leads, but man, this was some hard work. And oftentimes we play the movie forward, and this is what I mean of play on your psyche, that it's always going to be this way. And oftentimes we lose sight that these roadmaps build on each other, and you may only be doing a certain roadmap for a 90-day period or a 6-month period. And we may think, wow, that was some hard effort and some work that I put into that marketing. Yes, I got deals, but man, I don't know if I can, do this marketing for the rest of my life. And I just want you to understand that, especially some of that free marketing, it's a temporary thing. Okay, it's a temporary thing, and I think that's really important. And it's very easy. It's a trap to lose sight of oh my goodness, that was some hard work. Like, that wasn't the life of freedom that I thought being an entrepreneur was. Maybe this isn't for me. And then all this doubt starts coming in. And I don't want you to have that short-sighted view of things, because it really limits, the potential that you have. And oftentimes, once you land the first and second deal, now the marketing budget completely changes. The roadmap that you're doing is going to start to evolve and change. And remember, eventually this is going to be a role that you have, on your team, that you have outsourced, where you have somebody in charge of the marketing for you, so that you can focus on speaking with sellers and helping with sellers and getting the deals done. Okay, and even that is something where you're going to eventually have somebody on your team that's going to be in charge of the acquisition side. So I want you to understand the part that you're in right now, the phase, rather, not part, but the phase of your business that you're in. And remember, even if you're doing some of the free marketing, it's going to take a little bit of hard work, but you're not going to be in that phase forever. And I think that's a healthy perspective. A lot of coaches, mentors, trainers, and people will not say that, but I want to be real with you, and that's my commitment in this program. I want to be honest. I want to be real with you, and so I think that's important to remember. Okay, so next, the little things matter. Okay, the little things matter. I want you to treat each phase of your business like it is the most important thing, because it truly is. Starting from the very beginning, if you do not have the right goals, if you do not have the right foundation and mindset, and we do not have the right preparation and set up things done, that really impacts our business. And now as we progress to that third phase, that next phase of marketing and getting leads into our pipeline, getting leads into this whole system that we're building, it's the little things that matter. And I want to give you an example of leaving no stone unturned. So this is perfect because it has to do with marketing, which is what we're talking about, okay? But it really has a spillover in every other phase of your business. The little things matter. So you could have a $10,000 or $15,000 per month marketing budget. And I say that to get your attention. That's a big number, 10 to 15,000. And you could really still have things very chaotic in your business. A faulty misbelief is that just having a lot of money, just getting more leads, just putting more fuel on the fire is going to change everything, or is going to solve everything, rather. And that's not the case. It's not always more leads that matter. It's not always more money that matters, especially in terms of marketing. For example, having the right process and system in writing for answering your calls that come into your business and doing callbacks. So, for example, if I ask you the question, and I know we're just getting into this, how are you going to handle your phone calls? So let's play the movie forward here. This is a thing that I often like to do, of playing the movie forward. It's a very powerful concept that was taught to me in business, of playing the movie forward, okay? And let's pretend that you choose the right roadmap for you, and you commit to it with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul. And now you have leads coming in right and left that are calling your business phone number and emailing you and all of these things. And like, the marketing worked beyond what you thought it would work. Okay? So in that scenario, how are you going to handle your phone calls? Are you going to answer them live yourself? Are you going to have an operator answer those calls for you, like a live answer operator, which is an option out there that we're going to talk about, where they just kind of answer the call, they take the person's name and address and phone number, maybe ask a clarifying question or two to kind of pre-sort the lead a little bit, or pre-qualify them just a little tiny bit, and then they say, all right, well, I'm going to get this information in touch with Steven, my supervisor, or my manager, or however you phrase it, and he'll give you a call back within the next 2 hours, or within the next 12 hours, or within the next day. What's the best phone number, the best email? and they confirm all the information for you. That's a very viable option. Or, are you doing this business full-time, part-time? Do you have an existing job right now? So as you get into this, we're going to talk all about this, but this is just one item that I wanted to make sure to mention for you right here, right now. As you're thinking about the different roadmaps, you want to think about when people are starting to call you back. Are you able to answer those calls live? Or are you only working your business a certain amount of hours in the morning or in the evening because of an existing job? Maybe it would be beneficial to have someone else answer those phone calls for you. Or are you just going to call them back when you're able to? Or are you going to call them back, on your lunch hour or when you're in the car? I necessarily would not recommend that, but I'm just giving you those examples, okay? And we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to, share with you my preference. But I give you that example because a person could have a $10,000 a month marketing budget. They could have 2,000 to 3,000 postcards, for example, going out every single Friday, rain or shine, holiday or non-holiday, year-round, 52 weeks a year. But if they don't have a system down for exactly how they're going to be answering all the floods of calls that come in and how the callbacks are going to be handled, then they're not going to be as effective in that marketing channel of quote-unquote direct mail. That's a prime example of the little things matter. So I want you to remember that trap, that you could have the most robust marketing budget. You could have a $10,000 to $15,000 budget and you could still mess up marketing. And I say that not to scare you, but just to be real with you, that it's not always more money, more leads. It's doing the little things right. Having a written process for how we're handling our calls. Are we live answering them? Are we having an operator answer them? Are we, doing the callbacks ourselves during set hours and maintaining boundaries for our families? The last thing I want you is, out to dinner with your husband or wife and, handling calls at weird hours. Now, when you're first launching your business, there's certain things that you need to be able to do and things like that. But there's those healthy boundaries that we want to maintain as well. And so we're going to be discussing all these things, but still, this is a very powerful concept, and it's a huge trap that you can fall into to just think that more leads, more money, more this, and it's basically avoiding doing the hard work of making a decision. Okay, here's how I'm going to handle all the calls that come into my business. Okay, if I get a flood of leads from these roadmaps and from the marketing that I do, here's how I personally want to handle those callbacks. And there's a lot of factors that can go into this, and we're going to talk about these items, but if you're working 12 hours a day, you're going to have limited time to call people back versus if you're doing real estate full time. So there's a lot of personal factors that you personally watching this, that it's going to depend on your personality, your schedule, and your availability of maybe what the answer to that question is going to be of how are you going to handle your calls. All right. Next is knowing your numbers. This is a huge trap. And it really comes down to the emotional energy as we start to ignite this ignition really to the engine of our business, and the effort it takes to get that rocket ship off the ground, the effort it takes to get that locomotive starting to move, okay, pushing that boulder up the hill. It will not budge in the beginning. And after a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of marketing, your mind can start to play tricks on you. Like, well, I'm doing this and I've only generated so far 7 leads or 3 leads or, and really then we can start basing our business off of our feelings and off of our emotions. And that's a critical mistake. Okay. We want to base our business off of the data and off the numbers, okay? And when we do the right inputs with the right consistency for the right amount of time, we will get the result, okay? And Sure, there are certain tweaks and different things we make along the way, but just a powerful thing that I can tell you without fail from the very beginning is that you want to know your numbers. You want to track the inputs, the marketing channel, the marketing roadmap that you choose. You want to track all of the little inputs and be the master of that roadmap. You want to know, here's what I put in, here's the work that I did daily and weekly. And this is the output from the input. That generated 7 calls, and of those 7 calls, I was able to make 3 offers. And of those 3 offers, I was able to go on 1 appointment. You want to be able to track the inputs, and we're going to again talk a lot more about that. But that is a trap, and I could have named this differently, but it falls in line with this. It's the trap of letting your emotions and your feelings dictate your marketing instead of the numbers dictating the marketing. Along with that trap is just not letting the time and the consistency factor happen, right? Oftentimes we will want to make a judgment call off of 2 weeks of inputs or 3 weeks of inputs. And those 2 or 3 weeks weren't even that consistent in the first place. Because like I said, just a few slides ago, in the beginning, oftentimes we aren't as consistent as we want to be or as we think we'll be. And tracking the inputs allows us to clearly see that when we can see all the inputs we've made over the last 30, 60, 90 days. And that is a discipline in and of itself that is not very sexy or fun or highly talked about, but taking that 10 or 15 minutes a day to track our inputs and to jot down the inputs that we did and have a consistent way of doing that. And we're going to talk about that as well. So these, my friend, are the unseen traps that I want you to consider and to really think on as you embark on this critical phase of your business. This is an exciting phase. This is a fun phase. This is where you get things going. But it takes a positive mindset. It takes energy. It takes passion. And it takes an understanding and a commitment of why you decided to do this business in the first place. And if you will avoid these traps at all costs, you will get to where you're looking to go much, much faster. All right, my friends. So now we are going to get into choosing your marketing roadmap. Okay? This is where the rubber meets the road. Okay? This is where the rubber meets the road. So in the following videos, you are going to have 7 different roadmaps to choose from. Okay? And these are going to be a combination of inbound marketing and outbound marketing. Okay? What is the difference between inbound marketing and outbound marketing? Inbound is going to be where sellers call you. Okay? Where sellers call you. Okay, so you are doing your marketing and you are not prospecting. You are not calling out to sellers. You are not texting sellers. You're not out there, driving for dollars. You're not out there doing some of these things. Inbound marketing, this would be like doing either SEO or Google PPC or Facebook ads where you are doing a certain work and the seller is calling you, okay? These oftentimes are going to be the hottest leads, okay? It's where the seller is calling you. Oftentimes you're going to have a lot less quantity. You may only generate 5 or 10 of these type of leads a month, but you might do 2 or 3 deals from those few leads. Oftentimes inbound marketing is the most expensive marketing. Whether it's Google PPC, whether it's a radio advertisement, whether it's Facebook ads, they produce some of the most rich quality leads that are contacting you, and oftentimes those can be some of our bigger, larger spread deals as well. Okay, if you're if what I just said kind of freaked you out or scared you, stick with me here. There's going to be a lot of other things we're talking about. It's not just all inbound, but that's something, when we have a mature business, of where our business is going. Okay. Outbound is going to be where we are prospecting out. That's where we're, calling. Okay. We might be sending text messages. We might be cold calling. We're prospecting. We're reaching out to sellers, to highly motivated, distressed sellers who have proven to be, typically in a distressed situation, and we're reaching out to them. So I'm just giving you the overview of the roadmaps. It's going to be a mix of outbound marketing and inbound marketing. There's going to be a mix in here whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Okay, I myself am more of an introvert. Okay, so if you're an introvert, you're probably not going to get a list of homes and go start door knocking them. Okay, and that's not what I'm going to recommend for you. Okay, so but there is going to be certain, when you're looking at these roadmaps, I want you to think of this from the perspective of, am I an introvert? Am I an extrovert? Do I have a large monthly marketing budget, or do I have a small monthly marketing budget? Okay. And the type of lead that I want contacting me, do I want them contacting me, or do I want, me prospecting out for them? Okay. And there's kind of a mix there. When you look at direct mail, for example, I may send out, and this is just an example, 2,500 postcards a week. And that, typically would generate 25 to 50 calls per week of people calling me. So some people look at that as an inbound marketing because the people are calling you to say, yes, I got your postcard, I want to sell my house. But there's others that look at that as outbound because, well, we had to, week after week, we have to send out that direct mail. But that's just an example. So I want you to kind of view it of, eventually when you're shaping this business into the business that's going to fit your needs and your personality and your goals, do we want more inbound or outbound leads? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Do you have a small budget or do you have a large budget? And the roadmaps in here are going to range. The very first roadmap is going to have a $0 to $200 a month marketing budget. Okay. There's going to be other advanced roadmaps in here where, it's going to cost $10,000 or $15,000 a month. But, if you're bringing in $100,000 in revenue, a typical reinvestment into marketing is about 15%. Okay, 15%. So on a $100,000 a month business, that means you're reinvesting about 15% or $15,000 into marketing. So it's a lot easier to reinvest into marketing when you are producing a profit. So that is my goal, is to show you exactly how to move from phase to phase and to be able to have a larger scale business, but do it in the right way. Oftentimes people, and this is an unseen trap that I didn't mention earlier, but I'll mention it now. People try to skip levels too quickly. And they, again, it's a lot of time off of emotion and feeling or comparing themselves to other competitors in their market or other people they see online. And they just make a quick emotional decision, but it's not based off the data. And the other two perspectives I want to give you when thinking about these 7 roadmaps is there is evergreen marketing and there's hamster wheel marketing. Hamster wheel marketing is marketing that you have to do week in and week out, and when you stop doing it, the leads stop coming in for the most part. An example of that would be cold calling. Right? You could have a list of 10,000 distressed properties, and you could even have a cold caller on your team or you yourself cold calling. And when you stop cold calling on a dialer system or your cold caller, you stop having them call, the leads stop coming in. An example of evergreen marketing would be, you have your investor website set up as we've shown you how to set it up, and and you really commit to the strategy of SEO, and you have a blog post
going out every week, or a short 2 to 3 minute video that's ranking in YouTube, which Google owns, and it is the phrase in your market, like how to sell my home fast in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's the title of your video and the title of your blog post. And that blog post or video that's on your website may bring in leads for months and weeks and years to come. And as you continue to do that SEO, that would be more of an evergreen marketing channel, okay? Or if you have a radio spot on the radio for the next 3 years, that's going to be a longer term. You're going to start to build kind of a brand like presence where people are like, oh yeah, you are the house buyer guy or gal to go to in my market, and you kind of have the reoccurring market or leads that come in from that marketing. So these roadmaps are gonna cover all of these things, and I want you to really think about your personality, your budget, your dream business, and I want you just to consider those things as you're going through the next videos and choosing the roadmap that you're really going to commit to. Okay, it's really, really, really powerful. The next thing here, these roadmaps are going to contain a 90-day commitment. Now, one of the biggest temptations in this is, and one of the biggest traps that I've seen over the years of working with people, and even the last decade in my business, one of the biggest mistakes is hopping around in your marketing. Committing to something for a week or two or maybe a month, and then you're not quite getting the results that you want, and then you hop to another latest and greatest form of marketing. And there's no bigger culprit of just stealing the success than that right there. In order to master something, in order to really get good and become skilled at it, which is what we need to do, it's going to take consistent, repeated effort over time. There's going to be certain variables and certain inputs and certain things that you're going to do and tweak over time. And if you're spread way too thin, doing way too many types of marketing, which is another thing, another trap that that I've personally fallen into, and I've seen time and time again, people in this industry fall into, is they're just trying too many things. And it never works when you do it that way. We have to have laser focus. And it takes some real discipline and understanding from the very beginning that is the way, that less is more. So with that being said, when you're looking at these following roadmaps in the coming videos here, I want you to have it in your mind, not only the things in the above bullet point, but I also want you to fully and firmly commit that you are going to do this and only this roadmap for the following 90 days. I want you to commit. This is a 90-day commitment to a roadmap, to an action plan. Okay, this is going to be one of the most powerful things that you can do to your business that's going to help you to sidestep some of the pitfalls of doing too many things, hopping around from marketing strategies, but it's going to feel like you're going against the grain. This is going to take a firm commitment on your part, my friend, and I want to invite you right here, right now, to commit for the next 90 days to faithfully follow the roadmap and the game plan that I'm going to lay out for you. So as you think of these different roadmaps in the above bullet point, in terms of if it's inbound, outbound, introvert, extrovert, your budget size, the type of marketing that it is, I want you to really, in your mind, I want you to think about, what am I truly going to commit to? Which of these roadmaps is something I can faithfully commit to? Okay? That is going to be powerful, my friend. So in each of these roadmaps, I'm going to share with you the exact tools and resources that you should use to be able to execute the roadmap, and the rough ballpark cost that following this roadmap is going to cost you on a monthly basis, so that you can make that decision in your business. So you're going to have exactly what you need to be able to execute this plan day in and day out in your business. I'm also going to share with you the daily and weekly benchmarks to hit. So if we're talking about direct mail, it's how much mail should be going out weekly. If we're talking about phone calls, it's how many phone calls daily and weekly are we talking about here. If it's placing some type of advertisement, it's how often we should be doing that. So I'm going to share with you, so that way there's no guesswork on your part, the benchmarks that you should hit and that you can track in your own business to make sure you're executing in the right way. I'm also going to share with you the best practices of actually how to do the campaign, or the different marketing campaigns that we're going to be talking about in these roadmaps, and the best ways to execute those. I'm going to be sharing with you in each specific roadmap what mistakes to avoid. Whether we're talking about direct mail or cold calling or another form of marketing, texting, what are some mistakes that I've fallen into, that colleagues, investors, and people I'm connected with at very, very high levels, what are some mistakes that are known out there that I can share with you to help you avoid falling into those same mistakes, therefore helping you to get a result faster. Okay, so that's also what's going to be in these roadmaps. And then I want you to understand again the scalability of this. So you're going to start out with the roadmap you choose for 90 days, okay? You're going to have a firm commitment for that. You're going to be following along with it. And as you're getting results, as you are doing deals and profiting, we're going to reinvest 15% into your marketing. So you may, as you start to grow your business, you may go to the next roadmap and the next roadmap and eventually settle on what is going to be your tried and true marketing channel, for months and potentially years to come. So you're going to have that scalability. I want you to have confidence that you can scale these roadmaps up to a $100,000 a month business, a 7-figure business. So we're going to start where you're at. I love the quote that says, "Do what you can from where you are with what you've got." Okay, and so sometimes we all have to start where we're at. But we can push ourselves, we can challenge ourselves, we can stay consistent, we can grow, we can do the little things right, and we can scale our business. And I want you to have the confidence in that. Now, with the 90-day commitment, what I want to share here is, if you were following along with the roadmaps here, and let's say you're 7 days in, and you fall off the wagon, which we've all done, okay? There's no shame in this. This is not about beating yourself up. This is not about any of those things. But the way I've designed these roadmaps are, if you miss more than a couple of days in a row, I want you to faithfully, okay? And there's no way that I'm going to monitor this for you. This is something where you have to have that integrity from within, that you're going to say, you know what, Stephen, 7 days in, I missed like 4 or 5 days in a row. I'm starting back at 0. Okay, because when you're pushing that boulder up the hill, what's going to happen in reality, right? Like, if you're truly trying to push a heavy rock or boulder up a hill, and you take 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, and you don't push, it's going to fall backwards, and the rock's going to roll back on top of you, and you're going to fall backwards. The same way as if we're trying to get, a locomotive going, and it starts moving, right? But then there's no more coal that goes into the engine. Or the same thing if a rocket ship is trying to take off, and in the middle of the countdown, they stop all the stuff that they're doing. It's not going to take off properly. And so we want to be faithful to that, with this, if you fall off, so let's say you've planned to do your marketing in your business Monday through Friday, okay? Obviously, you have to take time for family. Obviously, you want to take at least 1 day a week where you are rejuvenating, or you're going to burn yourself out. So even if you're doing this full time, I recommend working no more than 6 days a week. So let's say you've planned to take 2 days off, and if you miss one day, there has to be that give that we're all human and things pop up in our schedule. I'm not saying at day 82, if you miss one day, you have to start back at zero. Okay, but what I'm saying is, if the days that you've planned, you miss, a couple of days in a row, 2, 3 days in a row, and then it happens again next week, you want to be faithful in that, where you say, you know what, I've really kind of fallen off what I've delegated. This was not like an emergency type situation. Like I definitely have not been consistent. You want to start back at zero, okay? And that is going to allow you to really fully execute this, and it's going to allow you to grow in your consistency, okay? So with these roadmaps, there's going to be roughly 7 roadmaps for you to choose from. There's going to be a 90-day commitment. You're going to have the tools, cost, resources, the daily, or depending on the marketing channel, weekly benchmarks to hit, best practices, mistakes to avoid, and this is going to have scalability. You're going to be able to go to the next roadmap and the next roadmap. Okay, and then eventually as well, you're going to be able to outsource certain roles, okay? And we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. So the laws of marketing, okay? So the first law is right what you see on the screen here, begin. We have to begin marketing, or else our business goes absolutely nowhere. So consistency with marketing is just the law of marketing. You have to consistently market your business. And even though these roadmaps have a 90-day commitment, okay, I want you to commit for 90 days. In reality, I want you to think of this in terms of 6 months to a year. And I'm putting that in here on purpose, because in our instant gratification culture that we live in, and Instagram and Facebook and everything available at our fingertips, our minds get trained that, oh my goodness, we have to see something now. And the idea of being faithful and committing to something for a longer period of time and being utterly consistent, it is so foreign to how we're being trained and programmed with all the things that we're exposed to. I want you to have that longer term thinking in your mind. And so whether we're talking PPC and SEO, whether we're talking about networking and outreach, whether we're talking about driving for dollars and bandit signs, whether we're talking about direct mail, cold calling, SMS, list stacking, radio, and other advanced strategies, I want you to think about, I, Steven, am truly want to commit to this strategy as a main marketing channel for myself, for my business, for the next year, so that I can understand all the little variables and the ins and outs, and I can commit to mastering this channel. And then I will know firsthand how to start replacing myself and delegating this to somebody, so that I don't have to do this for the rest of my life, so that I'm freed up to focus on other areas of my business, or manage my business from a high level. Okay, so I want you, this is a law of marketing, and I want you to understand that it takes consistency, and every time you stop, every time you switch, okay, we think that we can just multitask and throw a bunch of spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks. Every time we switch gears, it's like we're starting the cycle over again, and we're making it that much harder on ourselves. The next thing with marketing is in real estate, it is a numbers game. Okay, so it's go big or go home. This is a numbers game. You got to go after the numbers. When we're choosing the market, when we're choosing the counties that we're focusing on, the zip codes, we want to go after numbers. We don't want to do this business in the middle of the wilderness somewhere where there's like no houses and no people. And the same thing with marketing. We want to go after some of the marketing that is going to allow us to operate within the laws of marketing, which it is a numbers game. And the more people we can market to, the more sellers we can talk with, the more sellers are going to raise their hand that have a distressed situation where they need to get rid of that house. and we're going to have a lot of strategy in what we're doing, but we still can't change the laws of marketing that this is a numbers game. So on some level, I want you to think on that and understand that that is, a powerful factor. We want to pick one marketing channel, and that's what I am, helping you to do here by choosing these roadmaps that we're, this is going to be the fastest road for success. Is you are going to really commit to one channel. The truth is that although it may feel good at first, you don't have the time to maximize two channels because there's just too many variables to keep track of in the beginning and truthfully going forward. When you really start to dive deep and understand all the things that go into direct mail or cold calling or text messaging or radio or PPC or outreach, there's so many little variables that we can track. There's so many variables to tweak that when we really commit to mastery and we try to do it in, based off of feelings or emotions or whatever, there's just too many variables to tweak to try to go after too many channels at once. Eventually, you will be able to add on a second and third channel, but that is, again, an unseen trap that I could have put in the other slide that, there's a tendency to do too much too quickly, to do too many marketing channels too quickly. There's a time and place for it. But you can get to a very, very large six-figure business, just on one channel. You could get to a 3, 4, 5, 6, 700, even potentially $1 million business on one channel. So there's no need to spread yourself out to a lot of different marketing channels, because then what happens is our businesses will get sloppy and will not be tweaking and tracking the right variables. Our focus gets spread too thin, and we end up wasting a lot more time and money than if we would have just focused on one area from the beginning. Okay? The next part is tracking, and you're going to see just a couple of bullet points repeat here, just a couple. We must be able to track our inputs. So with the marketing that we're doing, as I talked about earlier, we want to be able to track the inputs that we're doing. That allows us to make decisions in our business based off of data and not off of feelings and emotions. The next thing is response time. So the smaller your response time, if a seller calls you and you have an operator that answers for you, and you're able to call that person back within a few minutes, the better results you're going to get. And there are certain lead sources, whether it's PPC or radio, it's like you want to answer those calls now because those situations are hot. With this, and some people may not mention this, but this is something I'm convicted about is, you have to have boundaries. I have a wife and two small kids. Business is very, very important to me, but my family is more important than business. And, if I'm out on a date with my wife or something, I'm not going to put, something ahead of my family. Okay. So, now when you're just getting your business rolling, there's certain sacrifices you may decide to make, and that's totally understandable. So what I'm trying to say is that response time is important. Okay, if you obviously send out 2,500 pieces of direct mail and you get a call from those direct mailings and you get lots of calls, and then you don't call those people for 2-3 weeks, then obviously the results are going to be lessened than if you were able to call them back within a few hours, within a few minutes, within a few days, and you're able to follow up with them. So I want you to understand that when you're choosing your different roadmaps, think about your schedule, think about your commitments, and think about personal boundaries. That's the other thing that I'm trying to say here is think about the boundaries that you want to have in your family life and your business. And I encourage you to make some decisions around those areas and what you will allow and what you will not allow, because that's going to give you a lot of future peace of mind and help you from being so reactive, okay, in different areas of your business. The next thing is follow-up and consistency. And you could say consistently. So typo, maybe not here. Follow-up is so critical. So we can't just, blast out one piece of direct mail and expect to do 1 million deals from it. We're going to have certain conversations, There's going to be some people who are interested now. There are going to be some people who are not, but maybe later. So, and then even our marketing in and of itself, whether it's cold calling, whether it's sending text messaging, whether it's, doing a certain PPC ad, whether it's doing SEO, doing a blog post or a video post on your website, whether it's placing a certain type of ad, whether it be on Craigslist or a bandit sign or, any of the marketing that you're doing, there's going to be a sense of follow-up and repetition and consistency, and that marketing has to be done consistently. And then in your actual conversations, and this is stuff for future weeks and trainings when we get into talking with sellers and all of that, there is follow-up in the conversations themselves. That's very, very important, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a very seamless and easy and simple way, okay? But make no mistake about it, following up in your marketing, repetition, is so important, and a lot of people don't do it. They do it one time, and they clench their fist, and they hope for a result, and if it doesn't happen, again, they're not letting the data, or maybe they're looking at the data, but they're not allowing the time component. They just have looked at the campaign for a week or two or a month, and they have more of a short-sighted view because they're desperately trying to force something to happen instead of giving this some time to really get going. And so those things are really, really important when you look at marketing. And then the next point is just being the best of the best. You want to aim to be the best. If you're committing to direct mail or you're committing to XYZ marketing in your area, don't worry about the competition. There's always going to be a way for you to stand out, but aim to be the best. Say, what? I might not be the best and I'm not the best right now, but I aim to be. It's my goal over the next year, over the next couple of years. I want to be the best at this. I want my business to be the best at this. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's what you should aim for. And that's going to allow you to take pride in what you're doing and really operate with as much excellence as you can. The next thing is be bold. In all of your marketing, I don't care if it's direct mail, in your phone calls, in your advertisements, you want to be direct and you want to be simple. Okay? People say no to what they don't understand, and a lot of times we try to reinvent the wheel. We try to be so extra creative. There is nothing new under the sun. And there is someone that's been there before and who's succeeded, and there's someone who's failed, okay? And so we want to follow the patterns of what's proven to work. We want to keep it simple, and we want to be direct. One of the most powerful things you can remember in your marketing is answer the question that the person is having in their mind. So, if they're viewing whether it's a Facebook ad or a Google ad, or they're getting your letter or this postcard, they're probably wondering like, okay, who the heck is this person? What are they wanting? They're thinking these different thoughts. So why not in your marketing message, maybe you kind of speak to that very, very directly, very simply, and definitely when you get on the phone with that seller as well. So just remember, in marketing, be bold. Tell them what you want, be direct, don't be shy about it, keep it simple, and if they don't want to do business or they're not interested, that is okay. We want to know that, and we want to say, hey, sorry, didn't mean to bug you, I hope you have a great day, see you later. And it's totally okay, because not everyone is going to want to sell, and not everyone is going to want to sell for a discount. And that's totally to be expected. The next thing, we talked about this already, but just a reminder, in your marketing, don't choose something to purposely hide, because in order for you to build a lasting business, in order for you to get results, you're still going to need to talk with people, okay? And again, eventually you're going to have people to talk to people for you, but you don't want to hide in your business. People in your area should know what you're doing and how you can help them. USP. So discover and cultivate a point of difference and your unique selling proposition. That's your USP. There's a lot of great resources out there, but you can even do a quick search for what is a unique selling proposition in Google. But it's how do you stand out? What's your point of difference? What makes you different? Okay, and this is something likely just watching this video, you're not going to instantly know. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I know for me, this is something that took a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of kind of thinking time. And I want you just to embrace who you are. So I want to give you a couple examples. So let's say you're the mom who loves ballet dancing or something, okay? Let's say you are, the mom ballet dancer. Maybe that is, could be part of your brand name for your business. It could be part of your website. I would embrace that in your marketing. How you are the mom, the house buying mom, ballerina who loves ballet. Okay. That is, kind of a silly example, but that stuff is powerful. Maybe you're the karate dad who's done karate all his life. You're a dad, and you somehow want to incorporate that into your marketing. Think about how you can stand out, and a lot of times you're going to tell yourself the lie that I'm nobody special. There's nothing exciting about me. Don't believe that lie. There's always a way that you can find out and create a point of difference. Okay. And this is not a bullet point that you have to have this figured out before you begin. I want to make that very clear. This is not something you have to have figured out before you begin. But it's something you want to think and meditate on and pray about and really spend some time. Ask yourself, write down the question, how can I be different? What are some unique qualities about me? How can my business stand out in my area? Think about the things you enjoy, that you love, that you're passionate about, that you care about, things that really move your heart to the point of tears. Think about how you can differentiate yourself, because if you're able to come up with that, and it is hard, I'm not going to lie, it's hard to come up with this, but if you can, and you can incorporate it subtly into your marketing, it's really powerful. Okay. The next thing is you have to seek discomfort. You have to get out of your comfort zone when you're marketing. You may be an introvert, more like I am. And when you first start marketing, you're going to feel like you're being aggressive. You're going to feel like you're bothering people or pestering people. Understand that that is not what's happening. And we're going to do everything with our marketing where that is not the case. But you may feel that because it's just foreign to you. But any corporation, any business, anybody that believes in what they're doing, they are promoting their business. They are marketing. They're letting people know about it. Okay. So I want you, the things that you're trying to avoid doing a lot of times are the very things that you need to do to move your business forward. But we'll think of a million other things that we should be doing, or that we could do instead. And we do that because it's a little easier. So when you're starting to market, know that it's going to take a lot of consistency, that you have to go big or go home. You need to focus on one channel. You need to track it. You need to really think through your response time and set boundaries. You need to follow up and repeat your marketing consistently. You need to commit to being the best. You need to be bold and not hide and find a USP. And you want to seek discomfort. You want to get out of your comfort zone. And then with any revenue that comes into your business, whether it's $10,000, $20,000, or $100,000, you want to reinvest 15% into your marketing to keep your pipeline full and deep. That's going to continue to propel your business. You stop marketing, and then eventually you stop getting leads and your business stops, okay? And so later in your business, this is going to be a role that you can help delegate so that the marketing never stops, okay? That's just the nature of this business. And it doesn't have to be a scary thing. A lot of times in the very beginning, that 15% is scary to invest, especially when you're just getting your business started. But again, aside from getting the right mentoring, the right training, so you can know what in the world to do in the first place, investing in marketing is really one of the only other things that matters as far as where you're putting your money to get your business off the ground. Because if you're not marketing and you don't have leads, you do not have a business. So I want you just to note that down, that this is a law of marketing, that you want to reinvest 15% of all profits. So think about that. If you go out there and you complete a $10,000 deal, that allows you $1,500 now to put back into marketing right away. Okay, if you go out there and you do $20,000 worth of deals, whether it's a lot of times that's one deal, okay, because we're focusing on larger spread deals. Well, now you have $3,000 that you're able to put back into marketing. Okay, so once you're into profit mode and you hit those first couple of deals, then it's really fun to be able to shift some of this money into marketing, and it really starts to compound and build. Okay. The other thing that I want to share with you about marketing is that marketing, a lot of people get sales and marketing confused. Marketing is letting people know. It's getting people to raise their hand about what you do and how you can help them solve the problem. A lot of times people will try to go the whole 9 yards and get the sale and close the deal in their marketing. You're just trying to get somebody to raise their hand and call you or email you or text you. That's it. Okay? It's helpful if you can have a unique selling proposition. It's helpful if you can answer a few questions that may be happening in their mind. But it's setting up a sales event. And a lot of people don't like that word sales, and you're going to find exactly how we go about that in the acquisitions training here in the next week. And we do it in a very, very, very easy, very cool way where we're not pressuring people in any way, shape, or form. But it's setting up a conversation. That's all that marketing is doing. It's setting up a conversation. Okay, it's filtering, decently. A decent amount of right prospects. They may not be the exact prospect, but it's made an effort. And then from the sales conversation, from the conversation we have with the sellers, then it narrows down, and then that's when we take the process further. So I want you to understand there's a difference in sales and marketing. Sales is where you're conversating with the seller, we're making offers, we're writing a contract and getting the deal done. That's not going to be accomplished with marketing. Marketing's purpose, marketing's job is to get someone to know about you and raise their hand and say, I have a problem. Can you help me solve it? And so when we consistently do marketing, we're consistently getting people to raise their hand to say, I have a problem. Can you solve it? That's what you want in this business. You want to have a consistent pipeline of people raising their hands, so then either yourself or eventually a team member can constantly be having conversations, because those are the two big things that get us results in this business. Talking with sellers and making offers. Talking with sellers and making offers. Talking with sellers and making offers. But that does not happen until we have marketing. And so that is why it is so important, and I really want to hammer that home. And then the last point I want to leave you with this laws of marketing is resourcefulness. Okay? Do what you can from where you are with what you've got. I want you to write that quote down. Be proactive, be creative, find ways to put resources into this area of your business. Okay, you've invested into this coaching and mentoring and training. Okay, the next most important thing is putting the right resources into the marketing of your business. Okay, so we can all be resourceful and proactive and creative. So some people it's meant selling some things, having a garage sale. Others, it's meant taking on, a second job, or maybe it's been saying, hey, I'm going to really invest this and treat this like a business from day one. I'm going to treat this business like a business, and I know that there's some money that I need to put into marketing to get this thing going. Okay, it doesn't mean we have to be foolish. We can still be very frugal with that, as you'll see in the roadmaps. But I just, with marketing, we want to be proactive, we want to be creative, and we want to be resourceful. Okay, that is a law of marketing, and when you're trying to figure out ways to get these resources to put into marketing, just remember to be resourceful, proactive, and creative. If you ask yourself, okay, if I had to, by the end of this month, come up with $1,000 to put into marketing, if I had to come up with 3,000 and my life depended on it, and I have to write down 50 creative ways that I could get these resources if I absolutely had to, it's amazing if we truly do that exercise and say, you know what, I'm going to take a whole hour and I'm going to physically write on paper the ways that I can come up with the resources to put in this area of my business. It's amazing what we can come up with, and who do I know, and how can I make this happen? Who do I know? Who do I know? Who does that person know? Who does this person know? Who's in my sphere of influence? How can I make this happen? How can I make this happen? It's amazing how resourceful we are. But oftentimes, if we let emotions dictate, well, I just don't have that. That's not for me. Oh, I can't do this. Our thoughts and some of those patterns can really, damper things for us. And that's not what I want for you. So as we approach this critical phase of your business, these are some things I want you to really think on. And guys, this is a longer video, but this is a very thorough topic. And rather than breaking this up into many little videos, I want to do a deep dive. And this is a video. This is one of the most important videos. If your business is not consistent, if your business is, up and down, if your business is completely stagnated or is not even off the ground yet, this is where it starts with marketing. And so we really, really got to understand these concepts, and then we got to commit and follow through with the roadmaps that I'm going to lay out in the following videos. So my friend, I invite you to define your path. Okay, I want the light bulbs to go off in your mind here. So I want you to be honest, okay? So this is just you and me right now talking. I want you to be honest, brutally honest with yourself about your personality, your strengths and your weaknesses, your natural skill sets and abilities, your budget, your family life, your responsibilities, your commitments aside from this real estate business, your job, I want you to really think about your life. And, and then in terms of this business, what you are willing to give and invest and commit to, okay? Because I want you to not just make an emotional decision about, which roadmap. I really want you to contemplate all of these things that I've listed and said here. And there's no reason to not be honest with yourself, okay? And I also want you, actually, before I talk about that, I want you to give yourself a lot of credit too for where you can grow to, because where you are right now is not where you have to stay, okay? So there is going to be a growth process here. So don't just think, especially if you're naturally a negative thinker, oh man, here's where I am now. No, I want you to think bigger and aim higher. But I also want you to have some honesty and some realisticness as well to it. It's that fine line. The next thing is I want you to take action in spite of fear. Take action. There's some decisions coming up here, and you are not going to have all the answers, and there's going to be fear and discomfort and certain feelings and emotions and inconveniences. So I want you to take action in spite of fear, discomfort, in spite of your feelings, in spite of your emotions, in spite of different inconveniences, and in spite of perfect knowledge. One of the most trapping thoughts that can keep you stuck in business and entrepreneurship and real estate and in other areas of your life is, okay, one day when I learn a little bit more, thinking that if you just learned a little bit more. And that's why people, I've seen it so many times, and I've fallen into these patterns early in my career as well, where you think you need to take the next course, the next program, the next seminar. You need to learn just a little bit more before you're willing to commit to a certain level. And that keeps you on a perpetual hamster wheel. And I want you to take action in spite of full confidence. Confidence will come from taking action and more action and learning and falling and getting back up again and correcting course and limiting certain mistakes and getting better and refining. You're not going to have full confidence in the beginning, and that's okay. It's the people who get results, they do it anyway. They don't do it sloppily, but they just do it anyways. And so I want you to do the work anyways, okay? The next thing is, because these roadmaps are a 90-day commitment, but even though I explained you really want to go in it with a commitment of 6 to 12 months because you want to think long term in this business. I want you to write it down. You want to put your marketing roadmap and your goals and these items that I've listed here in these first 2 bullet points about your strengths, your weaknesses, your abilities, your budget, your commitments, your family life, your job, how you can be extra resourceful, how you can find ways to really invest into the marketing of your business. And I want you to put your game plan and your roadmap down in writing. And one of the best tools that I found for this is called the Best Self Journal. It's a 13-week, 90-day journal that's designed for you to accomplish 1 to 3 specific major life goals in like a 90-day period. And when I say life goals, maybe that's not the right terminology, but a specific major goal for your life, where you're at right now, in a 90-day period. It allows us to focus in a sprint. And it's a great way for you to plan your days, plan your weeks with this 90-day goal in mind. So just get their basic 90-day journal. And I'm going to take you to their website right now and show you this. All right, so they have some backing, I believe, by folks from the Shark Tank and a lot of cool stuff. I stumbled across them years ago. And they have a lot of different products and different things available right now. But the one that I recommend is this basic self journal. It's $32. It lasts you for 13 weeks, and it's incredibly powerful. It's absolutely the best planner and tool that I've come across in this capacity, and it's going to help you. So I strongly advise that you get this planner, invest the $32, and utilize this as a way that you're going to commit to writing in this journal and planning each day and each week to follow along to your roadmap. And then they have some really other cool weekly action pads and project planners and habit roadmaps and some different cool stuff. So beneath this video, I will post a link to the Best Self Journal, or you can Google it. It has been a phenomenal planning tool for me. And even if you're not like the calculator planny type, I encourage you to still get this journal and give this a shot. Okay, I want you. I really feel this tool is going to help you with this 90-day roadmap and with this 90-day plan. Okay, so just get the tool, get the journal, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, even if you're not the journal-y planning type. Okay. The next thing is I want you to chunk this backwards. So we have this roadmap, and I want you to think of these things in terms of monthly, because 90 days is just 3 months. Weekly, we have 13 weeks. Daily and hourly. So as we have this major goal that we're looking to hit, whether it's accomplishing your first deal in 90 days, or maybe it's 2 or 3 deals, maybe it's 5 deals. I want you to think about it monthly. Like, okay, if it's three deals, then I need to have a deal done each month. I want you to chunk it backwards. A lot of times it's easy to throw out a quick little goal that, again, from our feelings and our emotions, but then when we actually put it on paper and we try to figure out some milestones to get there, that's when everything breaks down. And this tool is going to be able to help you to chunk things backwards. And that way, week by week for those 12 to 13 weeks, you can stay consistent and you can see exactly where you're at in this process. Okay, so that is part of the way that we're going to define your path in this business. And again, if you miss a day, okay, and I should have put a caveat here, if you miss 2 to 3 days, okay, the clock starts back at 0. I want to have, a little tiny bit of a buffer in there, but the more faithful you are to, honoring, what I've laid out here, the better and faster results you're going to get. So again, if you're working, 5 days a week on your business, on day 42 you miss a day, you don't have to start over. But if you miss 2 to 3 days, that's where you want to think about, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to start the clock back at 0. I got to get more consistent at this. And again, it's going to train you with this discipline. And there's a lot of other things that are going to be competing for your time and your priorities. But understanding that once you hit those next couple of deals, the first couple of deals, you start to get the systems and the pipeline and the process down. Later we can begin to delegate and this thing really starts to take shape. But consistency is one of the biggest killers, and that's why I am really spending so much time. And you may think this is wow, if I miss a couple days in a row, I got to start back at 0. Doing that is only going to help you, okay? Because it just solidifies this whole thing. And the more you master a certain roadmap and marketing channel, the better you're going to be at delegating. Another unseen trap that I didn't mention earlier that's critical is most people, myself included, have the tendency or have made the mistake to hire too early. To hire when they don't fully have a plan or a process completely mapped out, if they haven't even mastered that thing themselves. So by you getting super consistent, that's going to allow you to be able to delegate and to have the delegation itself be a successful delegation, not just, well, I hired somebody, but it didn't work out. But that's a whole nother topic, and we're going to get into that in the future. So let's keep going. The next thing is owning it. You have to develop this mindset that this is your business, that you are CEO. You have to own it. The buck stops with you. So if you think you're going to fail, likely you're going to fail. If you think you're going to succeed and you stick with it and you don't quit, that's the biggest thing. One of the most powerful things I've heard in a long time is, and I just, again, heard it from a completely different source who runs a 7-figure, really successful business. They said, you know what the number one thing is? Stop stopping. Just stop stopping. Just keep going. Just don't quit. And it's the whole difference between a white belt and a black belt. The black belt is the white belt who didn't quit. And this, the buck stops with you in terms of, being resourceful, being proactive, investing into marketing, committing, being consistent, disciplining yourself. You're not going to be as good as you think, as you want to be in the beginning. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get overly critical. Don't hammer yourself. Just dust yourself off, get back on, and keep going. But understand that this is your business, that the buck stops with you. And the more that you can own it, it's just going to help you, okay? So here are your action items. So action item 1, as we start to go through this week in the coming videos, is to choose one roadmap and commit to it for the next 90 days at a minimum, but preferably for the next 6 to 12 months, okay? Action item number 2 is to define your path, is to purchase and utilize the Best Self Journal as a way to keep you accountable and as a way to put this on paper. So I want to end this video with 2 quotes here. Whenever you see a successful business, someone once made a courageous decision. Peter Drucker. And it doesn't matter which side of the fence you get off on sometimes. What matters most is getting off. You can't make progress. You cannot make progress without making decisions. You cannot make progress without making decisions. So my friend, the thing that I want you to see in this is that your business and your success in this business is the result of making a lot of decisions. And a lot of times we try to avoid decisions or procrastinate a decision or just sweep a decision under the rug. I want you to get good and courageous and bold at making small decisions and then committing to those decisions. And that is what I see in these 2 quotes here, and that's why I put them on the screen. So because I realize when you're deciding like a roadmap, a marketing game plan, that there's a decision in that. But guys, I want you to know that I'm here for you, that I believe in you. You can do this. Be courageous. You can do this. Make a decision, commit to it, one day at a time, one step at a time. That's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the coming videos. Thanks so much.